Hello, and welcome back to Witch on the Holy Night. My name is Maybe Dennis, and last time we met some new characters. As Aoko, we went home, and then we met with Alice, her roommate, or housemate, because it's a very, very big house. And they had some funky conversations about dinner and experiments. And later on, we transitioned over to Sojuro at school, trying to get used to it. We met up with Hosuke and Tobimaru being the vice president of the student council. And now we're learning a little bit more about Aozaki's past. So, let's hop into it.
あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。あいつ、外見は文句なしに美人だからな。そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。
Damn.
まあよくも騒いだもんさ。
She was that
青崎
popular?
に近寄るだけでも大変だったんだぜ。
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ
Why? it's just one girl. Chill.
そりゃ、青崎は一人きり。命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。
Tobimaru speaking out of experience.
一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。
Actually, it would take technically more unless you did multiple people at once.
だから、まずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。
Jesus.
まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。
Ooh.
本筋にはなりえねえ。でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは、列なしで1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。
All got rejected instantly.
青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気。そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。
I was expecting something harsher than that, to be honest.
が、中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいたよ。
It's him. It's Tobimaru.
3年のある野郎が、
Never mind.
脈ありと見て、青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。多分、そいつ頭がおかしかったんだ。今にして思うと、そうとしか思え。
Incidentally, Tobimaru decided to gloss over the fact that this student was also the former student council president. Oh.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうだな。
Dude, bro, chill.
あまりにしつこいんで、青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。ちょっと、口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
And that's how he only has one ball now. Oh, right in the face.
そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
I don't know, man. That was some stalkerish behavior if you just follow someone to their home without telling them.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから、聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
I wonder if the newspaper editor will actually have like a portrait or anything.
飛び丸その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか
What you hiding, man?
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが、怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
Yeah, Tobimaru, he's over that. Sojiro tilted his head to the side in confusion. Tobimaru had lost him with that comment.
ああ、いい。それより、なんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、 それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってうちもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも理由ってもんがあるだろう。
She could be a very scary person, for sure. He tilted his head even further. It's like 90 degrees now. What Tobimaru was saying sounded off, but Sojiro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions towards Aoko, Aozaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Sojiro tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but only made a little chatter on the way and back.
けど飛び丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。
Aww, she cares.
飛び丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて、単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。けど、どんな種類であれ、彼女の心配は本物だ。それに、ここが一番大事だと思うんだけど、実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで、俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
His tone was measured and sincere. Tobimaru sighed with a tinge of regret. If not for those words, he could have introduced Sojiro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he was unafraid of exploiting another. If they were of no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was how Tobimaru Tsukiji operated. Sojiro happened to be the type of person who provided no benefit to Tobimaru, yet somehow sparked in him a desire to help. It was not that friendship was completely alien to him. He just did not have that many people he felt that close to. So if Sojiro really had fallen for Aoko, it was not his place as a friend to try to change his mind. Aw, he's being such a bro.
結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
He's only known him for a week too, but he must protect.
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに、綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
ん？
Tobimaru's shoulders slumped.
なんだ？あんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗十郎。
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
That sounded like a sophism to... I don't know that word. That sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Now, about the one major thing that Tobimaru had mistaken about this whole conversation, namely that Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would have been caused by this simple misunderstanding. Oh no! Something's gonna happen. He's gonna try to set him up. No!
忠告しておくぜ、宗十郎。青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
He spoke with a pained sigh, as if opening old wounds from the past. Ah,
そうか。
my boy.
詳しく。
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんだ。
Oh no. Ooh, that was a bad choice. She's gonna kick your ass. She kicked your ass already.
半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。
Gender equality.
つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも格也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
I don't know if you win if it's a surprise round. He had a distant look in his eyes as the words trailed off.
翌日になって、こりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ、青崎はいつも通りだった。で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Oh, that's so awkward. Oh. Sojiro sighed at his story. He then said with absolute confidence,
今の話を総合すると、君は単に乗りたいのか？
Clearly, he had missed the point entirely.
なわけあるか！今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。俺としちゃ、あいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか？
A look of disappointment filtered across Sojiro's face. Tobimari revised his opinion of him. Sojiro was something of a simpleton, but there was something more about him that Tobimaro could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。いいことをすれば好かれる。気に入らないことをすれば嫌われる。ってわけじゃねえんだよ。
Ah, whoops. Sojiro answered that he would keep it in his mind as he looked to the clock. They had been talking for a while, and lunch was almost over.
もう君からの話はないか？
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
Why had Tobimaru even brought him here in the first place? Sojiro tilted his head in wonder, but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matter at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
He inched forward closer and closer. Tobimaru sat up straight, having never seen Sojiro's face look so serious before. Sojiro set aside his rice ball and cleared his throat.
実は昨日、こんなことがあって。
Ooh, more juicy deets about plot-relevant stuff. He spoke solemnly, and as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before. Okay, so something happened. I wonder if it's magic related. I'm always looking for something magic related. It was 10 to 12 and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C, as lively as ever, as if it were an everyday occurrence. Aoko Awazaki announced her presence. While Aoko wasn't part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. Everyone stopped. Wait a minute. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so nosily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats. They're scared of you. She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared not to be the case.
有里君、出席番号12番のしずき君は？
Arisato. Aoko kept her tone professional.
俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
Is this like at the same time as the other scene, or is it like the day before? Because like it seems like in both cases Tobimaru took him away, but I don't know if that happened that time and he's telling him what happened yesterday privately. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Tsukiji by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was because he actually acted like royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛び丸が？あいつしずき君と仲いいの？
She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも築地君が男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ、私たち。あ、木の実君はバカだから別だけど。
Who's Kinomi again? Was that Hosuke? I don't know.
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Aoko listened for a bit before turning around and leaving the classroom with a later. All the Sojiro talk finished as quickly as it started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Oh, okay, so it was at the same time. Sojiro, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaru, still sitting across from him, was frowning. What's the story? Sojiro told his yarn as best as he... Is that a phrase, told his yarn? I didn't know. Sojiro told his yarn as best as he could. Tobimaru fingered his brow as if he was angry or concerned.
なあ、そうのじ。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよな。
leave that to us smart people. What is he saying?
失礼な。器用な方だぞ、俺は。
His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicion. It had to be one of two possible conclusions. That what Sojiro had just told him was true. Or that Sojiro was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter. Wait, what happened?
率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃねえ。俺は人間嫌いだから、そんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが、そんな奴まで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら、俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ?
Oh no, no. Don't stake your friendship on this.
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか?
Hearing his suggestion, Tobimaru's face darkened. It's like, simple solution. Just eat somewhere else.
わかった。はっきり言おう。それは幻覚だ。幽霊の正体見たりカレオバナってやつだろうさ。それでも納得いかないってんなら、いい精神科を紹介してやる。
So the story was about seeing ghosts. Interesting. What about seeing cat delivery boys?
それが君の感想か。よし、ならいいんだ。
As bitter as Tobimaru's words might have sounded to most, Sojiro swallowed them whole.
そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ。けど、都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろう。確かめたかったのはそこなんだ。
Casual ghost sighting, you know. Satisfied, Sojiro finished off his last rice ball and neatly folded the cloth.
おい、すると何か? お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり、腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか?
ガムガムな。
まあ普通じゃないけど、特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ。ここは山にないものが溢れている、何でもありの場所だ。だからそれぐらいやってのける人だってもしかしているのかなと。
That his face was as serious as it made Tobimaru realize just how big of a culture shock Sojiro must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity, in a place where the night sky was as it always had been, where humans were just one organism in nature's garden, it makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure was an appealing one, but maybe it was natural to forego civilization when your population was so small. Or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because city life offered him so much that was impossible up until now that he had come to the conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ。確かにこっちにはタチの悪い奴らばっかりだけどな。そんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ。
well.
そうだといいんだけど。
Would you like to know? But Sojiro seemed unsure. And on Tobimaru's part, there were things to Sojiro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Sojiro had described was disturbing.
まあ、事の真偽というか、どんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ。結果だけ見れば、うちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したって。
What the?
しかも双方控えめに表現しても普通じゃね
え。One of the school's students, so this is probably someone we met before. Is it Aoko? I don't know. Tell us the story. Why'd you have to cut away? As a newcomer to town, Sojiro assumed that everyone his age was a student at this school. For better or for worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持って、もう一人は、まあなんだ、なぎなたでも持ち出したのか、刃物らしきものが何メートルも伸びたときた。
I just have more and more questions as I'm reading this. I feel like Tobimaru. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Sojiro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to the disbelief in Tobimaru's voice. Hearing it repeated by someone else, you could see how someone might think he was taking them for a ride.
正気を疑うな。尋常じゃないぞその話。
宗十郎、お前、実は俺をからかってんだろ。
いや、全く。けどまあ、都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろ。
Okay, so I gotta remember, flamethrower and a naginata.
なら飛び丸の言う通り、夢でも見てたんだ。ここのところアルバイトと試験が重なって辛くて。
Winter break was just around the corner, and the end of term exams were but a week away. Damn! He transferred in 2 weeks before the exams? Oh my god, that's terrible! Both were proving formidable opponents for Sojiro.
俺は基本ができてないから、人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら、勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろ。
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、ま、何にせよ、やりすぎ飲みすぎは良くねえわな。
But I
前ぐらいは
won't be able to survive.
どうだ？
I need the money for shelter and food. Where else am I gonna get it? Test scores won't give me that.
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he had been busy. Even if he was not going crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream, or even if this all did go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。
Sojiro nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look the least bit tired.
泣き言言わねえのは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
そりゃ、新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
He's built different. As he answered, Sojiro looked at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
飛び丸、時間だ。
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。俺はまだ用があるからよ。
Sojiro watched as Tobimaru made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。そういうの、飛び丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。
The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him, unfazed.
おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。
I still don't know why he's calling him Sonoji, because his name is Suzuki Sojiro. Is there a G there? There's not even a Sono.
常人を上回る英気と幸運を感じながら座することなく精進してきた俺でもここを卒業しちまえば裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。
What I'm getting is he's saying, I'm just built different. I'm just better than other people.
ひでえ話だ。てめえの家柄を活用できんのはあと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。これの一体どこが羨ましいってんだ。普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。となりゃ有効なうちに使っておかなきゃもったいなくておちおち眠ってもいられねえ。
Well, having privilege is better than having none.
ああ、嫌だ嫌だ。何が嫌かってバカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
While he must have been joking, Sojiro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tobimaru for his word. When...
そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き延ばせるのに。なんなら協力してあげましょうか?
Oh god, no, she's here. She's here. Run, Tobimaru, run! The door to the student council room flew open, washing away Sojiro's half-hearted response to his friend. Oh no, she's right behind me, isn't she? This frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room. And it also marked the abrupt end to Tobimaru Tsukiji's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
そう。なら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Not missing a beat, Aoko Aozaki stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled as she had been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Sojiro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting vice president.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Farewell, my friend. May you survive this ordeal. Sojiro quietly got up to head back to his classroom.
割と薄情なんだな。
Bro, come on. Where's the backup? Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
だから、そういうのが薄情とだな。
He cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojiro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
Not a complaint. It was her honest opinion.
なんだ？要件は宗十郎かよ。
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
You're next. I'm watching you. Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed to. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual.
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き?
Oh no. Oh no. What kind of torture is she gonna do? Aoko asked abruptly. Sojiro frowned a little before saying that he was fine with either one.
ダメよ、一つにして。
泳ぐ方かな。
You'll be swimming with the fishies.
どうして？
あなたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
A succinct reply. Oh, you had to join a club. One that left no room for Sojiro to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。正直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
そんな無茶な。悪いけど、そこまでの暇はないんだ。
でしょうね。
An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Sojiro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tobimaru stood breathlessly, silent on the sidelines until Sojiro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。
I thought you would understand.
あ、いや違う。きっと分かっているんだな。うん。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
What does that mean? Sojiro stood up from his seat. He walked past Aoko into the hallway.
それ、明日からでいいんだろ？
しずきくんがいいならね。
He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. I don't get it. Does that mean he's joining the swimming club? While watching the events play out, Tobimaru found himself deeply impressed with Sojiro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Sojiro. Sojiro, on the other hand, was none the wiser to what Aoko was doing, so he simply just went about his way. To Tobimaru, it was hard to believe that Sojiro had not taken offense. All he observed was the performance of a lifetime in Sojiro as he maintained a poker face.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
He looked at Aoko curiously. It's the face! It's the face! Aoko stood completely still, staring at the wall.
青崎?
Aoko showed no response.
おい、会長。 青崎青子女子おい聞いてんのかよ青崎青子
さいはね青を呼ぶな
Her fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway and made Tobimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましいうるせえのはてめえも同じだ
Perhaps her shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just the type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよお前はほら目覚めたか
Apparently, it's not from lack of candidates. So many people went up to her.
別にあなたの声は聞こえてた煩わしかったから無視してただけよ黙らせるの面倒だして
めえな俺はカカなんかかおい
You figuring that out just now?
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えばあっちのがまだ上品よね
You take that back. I hate mosquitoes.
ほうその心は
お互い何を言ってるかわからない意味のない会話なら音声みたいなものでしょ
Are you hitting on me? Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the assumption that dating is the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題はお前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだがいつになくきついじゃねえか青崎
ちょっとね今愛嬌を振りまける状況じゃないのよ
不思議だこの2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの
そうかよやっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろ生徒会長さんはよ
There was only one thing that Tobimaru could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer.
ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれそんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよただでさえ脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに
Oh, she's calling you dumb, stupid. As the conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous aura began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calmer demeanor rarely seen from her. It was quite possible that nobody beside Tobimaru had ever seen this side of her at school before.
ご忠告どうも俺だってあんなことは忘れてよたださっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるからつい思い出しちまったんだよくそ考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか
Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was scowling.
ちょっと待ってあの話彼にしたの
Oh, for sure.
おう俺がてめえになんで会長になんか立候補したのよあんたは副会長って顔でしょどう見てもなんて挑発されて生涯最高の月をしたところまでな
That's the story. That's the full story. Damn. She doesn't hold any punches, and nor did he. Aoko let out a sigh, as if relieved that Tobimaru had not told Sojiro the rest of the story. That means there was more. Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった思わず体が反応しちゃったものねところで私そんなこと言ったっけ
言ったしかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった
Wait, after he was taken to the infirmary? Since that day, Tobimaru had served as a vice president to the person who usurped the role from him.
いいけどな俺に会長職は合わねえって分かったし副会長の方が性に合ってやがる会長なんてやってたら危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ
プライド高い分できることは全部やるからね会長職に先進するあまり気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど
やめてくれゾッとしねえ猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ
Tobimaru shooed Aoko away like an annoying pest, like the mosquito she is. It was a typical example of crude verbal abuse they exchange on a daily basis, with a witness that only two longtime foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
は
And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
半年前のここの事件をなんで彼に話したのよ。
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだ。
He's like, oops. He stopped himself before he said any more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Sojiro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that, even if it was all, in truth, a misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの？
7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
I don't know, man. I feel like you would. He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. But he'd come to know her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ、恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。確かに調子が狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。
Sometimes they have like a little pause in their speech, and I think it's over because I don't know exactly whether or not it's finished translating, so I skipped by accident. Oh, I don't care what people are gonna say. That's the thumbnail right there.
おい待て。なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度は。
別に。あんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底から見下げ果てただけよ。まあいっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら私ぐらいそうしないとね。
I want problem, always. She said casually, having regained her composure.
しないとねって。
Tobimaro could not follow her reasoning at all. Tobimaro was used to Aoko's erratic train of thought, but hating Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted,
けど、宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。それでも嫌いなのか？
the cat's out of the bag, and it wasn't even there that long. No, don't give the cat to Aozaki, no! His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。
There are some good expressions, but I like the other one more.
けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Stone, cold, Aoko. Tobimaro found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
Oh man, not only did he let the cat out of the bag, he's throwing it under the bus, which is kind of appropriate. Oh! He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier, was only realizing it just now. The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But an instant is all that it was.
Ne?
She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it should matter to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
Tobimaro gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよそんなの。つまらないもの。
She ruthlessly cut him off. Thinking of the boys who had harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaro tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。へえ。柄にもなく友達思いじゃない？殿下。
Oh my god. Maybe this will be a I don't know. I love Aoko's faces. Oh
っ
man.
てことは聞くも無残語るも無情っていう私の噂話教えてあげたんでしょ。
She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tobimaro repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, for ever bringing up Aoko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるからどんな話をしたのか聞きたいな。
Oh
私
no, he's dead. She was smiling, but Tobimaro wished that she had at least tried to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
Aoko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tobimaru's hesitant answer.
こういう時噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。
I think I skipped something by accident. Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed off with a heart. Whether angry or happy, Aoko spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaru took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of the situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。けどよ、青崎。本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか？
He knew that was a topic that he would be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyways. The bond between men, at times, shined more beautifully than a pearl.
まあ好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。だからダメなのね、きっと。
Perhaps to placate Tobimaru, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that he could not even complain.
そうか。まあ、そういうことならしょうがねえか。何しろ、綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ、手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
Thinking that would be the end of it, Tobimaru looked up towards the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojuro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って、今のどういう意味？
Her faux cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaru answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってな。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
Tobimaru was still in disbelief that Sojuro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out.
理由はないですって。
あ
Oh
あ、
my gosh, she looks like she's gonna kill someone.
俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。あ、そうそう。理由はどうあれ、青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。どうにも。はっきりしてんのは、他の野郎どもと違って、噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Tobimaru finally noticed the shift in Aoko's demeanor. She was scowling at the wall. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes.
それといい、それといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
Oh my gosh, she's vibrating. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seethed until it reached the point that Aoko forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. What is she so angry for? Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he'd brought further calamity upon Sojuro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
Tobimaru looked away as if to indicate that he'd rather not know, but Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
Is that Alice? I don't think it's Alice because she wouldn't be that angry. Her sister, maybe?
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimaru thought that the last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
え？授業ってなんで？いつ？
いや、さっきその字が出てってから、青月がギラーンって壁にらんでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。
Oh crap. Damn it.
いいわけないでしょ。なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは。
She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tobimaru raised his hand in mock surrender, a gesture reserved only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The vice president smiled a thuggish grin, as if her reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない。藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural that she would be in charge of teaching that classics.
さあ、こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
くそ、あんたなんかにはめられるなんて。このまま死んでしまえ。
Oh, okay, I love these two people. They're so fun to be around, or at least to witness. She choked him even harder with his necktie. As Aoko put words into action and mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
いや、待て待て、本当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Aoko glanced up at the clock. It was still only 7 past 1. Her route was from the student council room on the second floor to Class A classroom on the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
Aoko clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
I have to kill you. You must die. She was halfway out the room before she even finished her sentence. Finally all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slumped into a chair.
たけ。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ。青崎は。
He leaned back in a creaky folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the morning, or in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade, and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so he had no choice but to settle for the chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃ、また雲行き怪しいって話だが。
After a somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. He idly wondered to himself whether Sojiro was an overcast day. Oh, whether Sojiro was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy. Oh, okay. I was like, whether Sojiro was a cloud. Yes. But no answers came. Oh, I thought that was going to be like the end of chapter or something, but cool. The school day was over. Sojiro headed straight to his job. While the school had approved his job at the Chinese restaurant and fish market in Misaki Shopping District, there was other work that he hadn't mentioned to them. It was not because he knew that they would complain at him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of one job in particular. Ooh, what is it? What is it? Is it a bartender? Today, his workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of Yashirogi Station. Sojiro changed out of his school uniform and into a black faux tuxedo uniform, then began cleaning the storefront. Yashirogi was the jewel of Misaki City, a busy place with a vast assortment of commercial centers and shopping arcades. Where there are people in mass, there are products made in mass. A romantic might describe it as a place of joy. A realist would note the free enterprise, and a cynic would point out all of the garbage. Local authorities had attempted to beautify Yashirogi, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. This establishment was the embodiment of that rule. Businesses such as this attracted the dregs of society, and as such, the front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. Sojiro stood outside in the winter cold, sweeping the used-up cigarette butts, picking up the discarded flyers, and tossing empty cans into the trash can. Something about it must have reminded him of mountain life because he cheerfully finished the job with ease. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned to the inside of the parlor where it was nice and warm. Blinding lights, deafening sounds, and the oppressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on his way to the office.
店長、外回りの掃除終わりました。
はい、ご苦労様。それでいいかな。2階の40番台のお客さんの様子見てきてくれない？
Oh, he's gonna bump into his teacher, isn't he? The other one with glasses. I get a feeling.
どうも懐に飲んでそうなんだよ。
Oh wait, she. Never mind. Aozaki's not gonna be here, is she? I don't know. I don't feel like she is. His boss was a good-natured man who used to work a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Sojiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It was because of all the other employees were scary and intimidating, and he wanted at least one employee who was not.
いいんですか？トイレの掃除まだですけど。
いいのいいの。なんかね、カメラの死角にいるんでいまいち確証取れないの。そうちゃん、今のところ的中率 100% でしょ。様子見てきてくれないかな。
6 cents? Okay. Hearing that, Sojiro put away his cleaning equipment and headed upstairs. Female. So you've met Aozaki, we've met Alice. I don't remember any other female portraits. I know Aozaki has a sister, and I'm assuming that's who she was referring to before. But I don't think we know any other female characters. It was a typically large-scale pachinko parlor with 2 floors. It prided itself on being a local establishment that was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to more exploitative means. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Among them were casual players, professional gamblers, and cheaters looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed in the mid-80s that could disrupt the mean circuitry from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called a 777 jackpot. As much as the parlor wanted to deny those cheaters entry, it needed to present hard evidence of cheating or risk losing customers. Particularly in the service industry, innocent until proven guilty was not a rule taken lightly. As a result, they could only punish the customers they caught in the act. Such creatures were known as gotoshi, a slice of society which Sojiro knew nothing about. What he did know was that they were inconveniencing his employer and violating their rules. He went upstairs. The video and game machines sounded on the second floor were quieter than the cacophony downstairs. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second. While there were some empty seats here and there, it was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aisle. Sojiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customers hit the jackpot over and over again. Ah, I recognized that outfit. The second he saw her, his gut told him that she was not cheating. He was still not sure what made someone a master swindler, but if it meant they were special, this woman would certainly fit that description. It was almost as if he could feel the luck emanating from her. As the customer looked on, she silently turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Sojiro. She wore a green, form-fitting one-piece dress. A pair of stockings covered her legs. Her slender legs were gracefully crossed, and her elegance suited a painting better than a casino. Her dark reddish hair was cut short, in a bob, perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. Truth be told, something was off about this picturesque beauty ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at her feet, and her winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as her slender porcelain fingers lifted the long cigarette to her lips.
なんかどっかで
Just as that thought crossed his mind, her gaze turns towards the wall, and Sojiro. Bop, 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 bop. Vroom. Suddenly, a chill ran down his spine. He reflexively covered his mouth to keep from shrieking.
あの人昨日の
Oh god, it's so his vision or whatever he saw last night about people dying and like flamethrower and a naginata were real. If it was her, it makes sense. Acting on pure instinct, Sojiro took off running. He headed straight downstairs, desperate not to be on the same floor as her. He would have run straight out of the door, but for his obligation to his job.
店長早退しますそれと2階の人は問題ないです
He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, jamming his school uniform into a paper bag as he ran out of the parlor. Damn, he was like, no, gotta get out there, whoosh! Cloudy weather brought the shadow of the night over Yashirogi as he ran through the shopping arcade towards the station. He shot up the long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulling his train pass from his wallet and passed through the ticket gate. She's gonna be there before him. It's like, I see that you're running away from me. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. There was a now familiar, comforting hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he witnessed the night before. He could finally breathe again. The momentary rush of relief brought him to an abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way that that dangerous individual could be behind him.
考えてみると
He couldn't think of a good reason for why he'd fled so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion of her. Sojiro gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together, and quickly made his way down to the platform. Unfortunately, the next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favors, so he quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people waiting for the train just like he was, and no sign of anyone pursuing him. His head finally cleared up, and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. Though he was surprised at how heavily his shoulders felt.
疲れてるのは分かってる自分の体のことだし
Sojiro sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. He had certainly struggled since coming down from the mountains, but in retrospect, it could have been worse. Physically, he was probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. The city and the mountains could not have been more different. He had been slow to recognize the difference and adapt. Acclimation was simple enough. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. Even without any effort, one will learn to adjust over time. Recognizing the challenges that had been the hard part.
そりゃあとにかく難しいことだらけだし
Sojiro grumbled a complaint he'd never uttered before. To be honest, he was still afraid to wander around town. There are so many things city people took for granted that Sojiro had yet to grasp. It was little wonder that this never-ending chain of surprises would wear on him.
そっか疲れてるのは体じゃないのかだからあんな幻を見る
He muttered to himself, then shook his head. That which exists, exists. Such was the way of all things. Tobimaru had called it a hallucination, but Sojiro knew what he saw was real. The city was a magical kingdom compared to the mountains. If there were real magicians secretly living here, that should have been no surprise at all. The thought alone made his legs tremble. It took him a moment longer to realize that they were quivering out of fear. He had feared the unnatural ever since he encountered a wild bear on a mountain path as a child.
いやあれはこんなもんじゃなかったっけ
Oh god, after this monologue to himself, the camera's gonna pan up and we're gonna see the woman.
なりふり構わず泣き叫んだもんなあの時は
Sojiro smiled a little as he recalled his traumatic childhood memory. Anyone would have fainted at the sudden appearance of a growling beast that towered over 6 feet tall. The monster in the movie that Sojiro saw not 2 days ago was the equivalent of a cuddly stuffed animal when compared to the wild mountain creatures. He was reminded that he'd faced far worse before, and his ordeal was now something he could endure.
そうだよな。今の問題はちらっと聞こえた最後のセリフか。捕まえて始末するっていうのはどうなんだ。
At face value, the meaning was obvious, but the implications were simply too frightening to contemplate seriously. Perhaps he had misheard the words, or perhaps the speaker had misspoke.
都会のルール。誰かがきっと罰しに来るか。
Even as he said it, the idea didn't feel quite real. It was hard to imagine that it applied to him. Sojiro breathed in and closed his eyes. His vision dimmed, putting the illuminated cityscape out of sight and out of mind. For now, he resolved to put the last night's events behind him. When he opened his eyes, his breathing had calmed.
それでさ、青崎を殴りつけようとして結局どうなったんだ？飛び。
The question suddenly popped into Sojiro's head. All right, he never found out that Tobimaru went to the nurse's office after he got KO'd. He decided he would ask next time and stood up from his chair. A long streak of light blazed by him, announcing the arrival of the next train. I'm just waiting for that one moment. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, okay. Okay, we're hitting nighttime. Whew. All right. Well, I'm not gonna say who that was because I don't know if everyone knows, but that's definitely a character that I recognize from other pieces of the Nasuverse. Whew. You know, the story about Aoko and her school life prior to this year was really interesting, and man, that conversation between her and Tobimaru, I freaking loved it. Man, Aoko is such an expressive character. I love her a lot already, as well as Tobimaru. He's such a confrontational person, and he gives no fucks about it. Oh yeah, I'm really enjoying this game. I'm really enjoying the story so far, even though it's very slow, and we still haven't really gotten up to the magic stuff. But it's building up, especially since we're introducing like some supernatural things that are happening. But yeah, we'll see and find out more about the other characters next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!